Here's a new strategy or a new concept for leaders to think about, and something I'm definitely going to think about. It's reverse mentorship, breaking that traditional somebody more experienced and usually older than you, giving you mentorship in terms of advice and time so that you can build your own experience. This is about breaking that model and turning it on its head. So, in conventional mentorship, a more experienced and usually senior person provides guidance, advice, and support to a less experienced mentee. This relationship is usually developed so that you can help set up the less experienced mentee with some support or development around a certain area to help the mentee develop specific skills or their career and navigate personal or professional challenges. The key elements usually include knowledge transfer, where the mentor shares their knowledge and experience and the mentee picks that up and thinks about how they can incorporate that in their own life and gain insights that aren't usually easily picked up through training or online courses. It's really hearing from somebody's own experience. It's usually about professional development, where you might have career aspirations and your mentor offers guidance on which path to take for your career to get you to the next step, or feedback on their development and what they might need to rehone in terms of their skills. It's also a networking opportunity. You obviously get access to someone who's more experienced and more senior, which can open up other pathways for you. And often it's someone that you admire if you're the mentee and you really want to role model what they are doing in their role that you think you could put in place in your own situation. Now, reverse mentoring would be the opposite. So turning the traditional hierarchy on its head, and instead of the experienced person offering all the information, it is the inexperienced person offering the information to the experienced person. So why would we do this? Why would you do this? Why would you want to do this? Well, I think there's actually some great reasons to do this. The first one, particularly now, well, kind of always, but it's around getting some knowledge on trends, particularly in technology or other changing environments that perhaps you're not as closely connected to as someone younger, maybe. Younger mentors could provide more information on how to navigate social media if you use social media in your role. It could be showing you opportunities with new technology that you haven't considered and how it could impact in your workplace. This could be a real advantage in a leadership role. So if you're connected to people who have interest in technology, and while you might be watching YouTube videos on how to lead in a diverse landscape, they could be watching YouTube videos on how to use AI to their advantage. And they might actually have quite an in-depth knowledge that you could tap into and pick up some tips from them on how you could incorporate it in your role. I often ask younger members of staff system tricks, as I'll see them doing things with their calendar or with their emails, and I'll be like, oh, how did you do that? And they are a very willing bunch of people, will share with me some trick that I've never heard of or seen that actually ends up saving me time. But I really like the idea of doing this more deliberately. So actually setting up with intention a relationship with somebody like that, where they can give me really key advice around particular systems or ways of working that maybe I'm not even aware of. The other advantage is a fresh perspective. So often younger people can bring a new way of thinking, a fresh perspective to the table. Often we utilise SMEs, which are subject matter experts, and it might be that they have a really core knowledge in a particular system that we use, and we'd bring one of them in when we were thinking about making changes. But I really like the idea of bringing in someone that maybe is younger or less experienced or new into the organisation and saying, hey, this is how we're doing things, or this is our plan for next year. What do you think? And they may give completely different ideas, which we can then utilise or adopt. It's really easy to get quite entrenched in how you do things. And if you have a leadership team around you that has been in the role for quite a long time, often you'll have a way of coming up with new ideas that is the same or it follows the same steps. So bringing in a different group of people to go through a process that you are looking at, particularly if those people are either doing the work that is impacted by a process or an idea that you have, or people that are, like I said, new to the organisation, it just brings a completely different slant onto how you're doing things. And I am probably going to steal this idea because I think it would be a really great way to also build that team culture where people feel far more connected in what's happening, and they're not just told, oh, we're going to trial out this new system, or this process isn't working for us, so we're changing it. It's more, hey, we've worked on this together and this is what we've come up with. What do you think about it? Or here's what we decided instead. I think that would be a really great way to pull people together, is if you actually had a different outcome from where you started by using people who are perhaps less experienced to get insight. The third reason is mutual learning. So it could be that perhaps there's someone who isn't a leader and they want to be a leader, and you match up with them because they also have really great knowledge in how to retain and recruit younger staff because they're in a different generation to you. This could be a really good mutually beneficial arrangement where you meet to give them tips on your leadership skills and they give you tips on, hey, if you changed your advertisement, this would really speak to me if I was applying for the job. Or if you actually had this set up in the company, I think that I would actually like working here even more. Or these are the things that I think would really help encourage people to stay even longer in the role. I think this is a really great opportunity to build even more insight for leading teams. Number 4 is cultural exchange. So I have been in a situation where a way that we had set up a long-standing process, I got feedback from a staff member that actually they found it quite uncomfortable and they didn't like it. It wasn't anything major, don't worry, but it was a way of doing things that didn't quite fit with them for their cultural background. So I took on that feedback and changed how we did it and made sure that when I was responsible for running that particular process, that I incorporated that feedback in how I did it. This is a situation where I believe a deliberate mentee-mentor relationship would have actually been really beneficial. So rather than me saying, hey, I really appreciate that and we're going to adapt it on the basis of that, and give me any more feedback if you can see anything else that would support you, I actually flip that around and go, actually, you know what, that's great insight. I'd really like to learn more. Could we have a sit down? Could we have a setup where maybe we check in once a month and develop that mentor-mentee relationship with them so that I could get a much bigger understanding of their background and how we could look at how we work together. As I think me taking the feedback, implementing it, and then kind of putting it on them to come back to me if there was anything else, was me divulging responsibility. So I think this is really great and I could see it working for me. And number 5 is career development. So I believe that if you're picking up these kind of insights by having a reverse mentor-mentee relationship, you are developing your own skills, you're stretching yourself, you're becoming more adaptable. So even reframing and thinking, well, somebody less experienced is going to tell me what to do, is developing your own skills in how you relate to other people and how you might have perceptions of that. I think it's really good. I think I could definitely learn from it and it could help my career development to adopt that style. But also, I think if you're really deliberate about it, it could be an opportunity for them if they also want to have a change or have some progression in their role. There could be something valuable that you could help support them with. So it could potentially create an opportunity where both parties are learning from the experience and getting something out of it for their career. I was pretty excited to read about this reverse mentor-mentee relationship. I have been in leadership for 17 years. I have led a big team of over 300 and I haven't actually come across this before. So I'm excited about it. I think it's something that will work for me in my leadership roles. And I really like the idea of breaking down that whole hierarchical feeling of the mentor relationship. I really like the idea of creating a culture of collaboration through implementing something like this with a team. I think it could promote a more inclusive environment and could create a lot of opportunity for more insights and improvement across the organisation, as well as a culture of a real team where you're learning from each other. It's not just one way. Do tell me in the comments if you've heard of reverse mentorship before or you've tried it, and if you think that it could work for you with your team. Thank you very much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.